How are you doing?
Oh, a little bit sick today. How are you doing?
Yeah, maybe the same. After just after lunch today, like I kind of maybe I ate too much, went for a run, and ever since then I've been feeling like kind of sick, like a bit cold, even though I'm in like a warm room. So it's kind of
Hmm. Well, I got vaccines for Thailand, but then I also, when I was doing yoga, kind of did like this inverted position and I don't know, getting into that position, I got a bit of a cramp right under my right rib cage. And then when I was sitting down and it was like disabling, it was really bad. I had to stop the position, but it went away. But today I was doing some computer work and I'm just sitting there, and then all of a sudden, this pain comes back, and it lasted even longer, and it was more severe to the point where I had to go lie down in the bed for a bit. And then I look up like what causes that, and it could be like gallbladder shit going on. So,
yeah.
probably the best possible time for this to happen before I go to Thailand, because
Oh yeah.
yeah, going septic, fucking across the pond is not a good way to go.
Well, I guess you were kind of active for 10 days in a row there, not a lot of sitting, and then coming back and, all of a sudden maybe you sat a bit too much when you got back all of a sudden, having been
Yeah,
mobile otherwise, yeah.
absolutely.
There should be like
Honestly,
a like a briefing and debrief sort of stretch routine after vacations and just like get people's bodies ready to sit again.
or just don't come back to the default.
Yeah,
Honestly,
never come
man,
back.
like this, the way we live is fucking toxic as hell. It really is. We spend way too much time on our ass and eating, and it's yeah. I'm convinced that I need to get out of Canada. I need to get out of North America. I might be able to chill at the
Yeah.
Sun Belts or in the Sun Belts for a little bit, but yeah, man. Like as soon as I land back here, I'm starting to get sick. Starting to get rosacea flare ups and stuff. When I was in Costa Rica, no fucking flare ups. I had booze. I had a
Yeah.
lot of booze, and I ate foods I wasn't supposed to. And sure, I got a little bit of a rash. That's probably because of the heat. But no fucking rosacea
Mm.
flare ups. I
Right.
did barely felt sick. No, I was probably fueled on cacao the entire time, which was incredible. I need to find some 100% stuff down here.
I tried some. I bought some cacao from like 2022 harvest from Ecuador, and but it was mixed with coca because I couldn't find any pure, and it wasn't that good because of it
Yeah,
was been
no
tainted
coca.
by
That's a
by
that's a that's a
advice.
fucking tea stuff. You know, no coca.
But even with the coca, it tastes very bitter, and so I wonder, like, I'm interested to know what the true flavor is because, like, even with the sweetener, it's bitter. But then you're kind of indicating that the pure stuff retains its own sort of flavor palette, which is good. And I haven't really experienced that, so I'll have to try it like from a country of origin, like at some point,
Hmm.
like in the country, I guess. They say that about bananas and stuff. Like bananas taste all sorts of different ways, and there's like a banana that tastes like ice cream and stuff, like in Hawaii. But then they just
Mm.
don't. The ones that can like survive being shipped to North America just aren't as flavorful, and so then like banana connoisseurs, they need to go to like Hawaii to taste the real bananas, and even then they're kind of hard to like get the exact ones they want.
Ice cream bananas.
Yeah, it's apparently a thing, and but they I think they're even in Hawaii. They're a bit hard to track down. You have to like find essentially like a farmer that will like sell them to you, and then it's hard to verify if you're getting like the true thing or not.
The ice cream bananas. God, I did not know that was the thing.
Be good in shakes, I guess. So now you're going to Thailand. I think my parents were just in Thailand, and now they went from Thailand to Japan because it's sort of close, I guess, cheaper.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. But I wish I could do the same. But I'm following my friend back to Spain, so
Oh yeah. That's good. You're hitting a lot of different countries in short order. I guess now's a good time.
yeah. Well, it's one thing to go to a country. People go by themselves. I think it's good to go and with people or to see people. I mean, life is about other people. It's about those connections and sharing them. Because I could have done all that shit by myself, and it would have sucked.
Yeah.
Horseback riding up the mountain was only good because I met two new people and it was my buddy. You know, like the whole thing was as great as it was because I was forming these connections with like-minded people. So I'm going to Thailand to see my buddy Melissa and then following her back to Spain. And, you know, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be taking the trip. What's the point? I don't want to fucking just sit in an area by myself. I could just do that here.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I've been considering, and I have no real plans, but like doing something like a master's in like Zurich, Switzerland. I would try to basically get accepted as like an international student, and then I would go over there for like 2 years, and I would do a master's. And from my research, tuition is like insanely low somehow. I don't know how they do that, or if it's like competitive to get in that case. But that's my pathway now to like to Zurich, and I don't know how that would overall go, but it would be a totally different thing just living for 2 years over there, and maybe some kind of job comes out of that, and then I can stay over there somehow or something like that. But yeah, hard to predict.
Hmm. Yeah, I've been enjoying my time off. I can't go back. I can't go back to the military. Absolutely not. It is
Back to the
completely
military,
off.
yeah, I would not. Yeah, finding maybe some other job. It sounds like you're sort of you've written off the whole 5-day work week completely. So, but yeah, definitely the military itself is too trying to manipulate one to become like a different person almost.
Yeah, I'll sum up quickly by saying that it is complete opposite end of the spectrum of who I am and where I want to be.
Mm,
Yeah, it has been the most toxic, corrosive experience I've ever had. And it's like being in a bad relationship or a bad marriage. It wears down your self-esteem to the point where you don't think you to the point you think you're worthless and that you can't get anybody else. It makes you sick. It makes you really sick.
right. Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. It's a bad fucking marriage. And I'm having a real hard time getting out. There's all this legal bullshit. And so I got an email today from the boss or some, I don't know when it was. Could have been during the last 10 days. I didn't check. But he wants me to submit my leave pass, use up all my leave. And he's like, you know, hope you're ready to come back to work on the 22nd. And I'm like, yeah, nope. Not going to happen. Like, if the medical side doesn't continue to grant me my limitations or uh, my freedom from work, I'm just going to AWOL. I probably won't fucking come back, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know if
I
I'll come back to
definitely
the country.
I considered that. Like I strongly wanted to just send them a message and go AWOL, but at the time there was like people that I knew that had like done that. Like they went AWOL for different reasons, and eventually like the military police, like I mean they stayed in the country, they actually stayed in the same city, so the military police like found them and brought them back. Uh, well, the word is that most of them came back kind of voluntarily when their paychecks like stopped, basically. Uh, but it sort of showed me like you can't the system is like so annoying to escape, but AWOL ends up increasingly seeming like not like a pathway because they really follow up on that stuff. That's like their whole mission is just to like get you back
Keep
so they can start like claiming your you on a spreadsheet for getting like more tax money or something.
they'll still take their tax money.
There's an interesting thing that the program the military has like for sports. Like I was doing running, and there's a whole thing called like this. It's this like intermilitary sports style thing. Like they try to make it like the Olympics, but like for only for military people, but for like any military. And every couple of years they have like a competition where every like sports team from every military goes and like meets up in some country or another, and it's usually just like one sport at a time. It's not like all the sports together. Different sports have different places. But I went like down south for running one time, and it was clear that like the mission, like the funding was given because you would go there and you would meet like the people from the other countries, and the whole point was like build friendships through sport to avoid conflict, like better understand their military structure and make friends in other countries so that we don't end up like going to war with them or whatever. And I guess that was the idea. But it's weird that it was, they stop right now, they're like stopping at sports. But like your whole mindset strikes me as like probably something that like there's people in other militaries elsewhere that think the same way. And it's too bad that the military can't, like in each country, have sort of like just like these detachments that get together. Like the whole purpose of getting paid by the military and being in the military is just like go meet, like almost be like a diplomat, but with no like political goals either. Just like go meet people from other militaries and talk about how messed up stuff is, and like be like a focus group almost, like just like live the proper, good, peaceful life, but wearing the uniform, and then to demonstrate that like we can also have this like trade that's like trained to like just be chill and be like a good all around healthy human, and also share that with other militaries or something, or go and learn how other militaries are doing it better or something like that, mental health and all that. But
Yeah, that's
that strikes
all.
me as something so far. It'd be so hard to get that passed in like today's world, but it would be a sign that people are really realizing what's important or something.
Mhm. Yeah, it's, I just don't care about the militaries. I mean, it's just they're just a fucking tool for the government. So it gives the government a monopoly on violence and allows them to maintain control and be recognized as sovereign. Because without the military, then yeah, which is
Yeah, it'd be cool
interesting.
too to get a yeah.
I say that, and then Costa Rica comes to mind. They don't have a military, so they were able to,
Oh yeah.
I guess, just be supported by the states. At least that's what
Interesting, yeah.
buddies. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz so much like that would be like a huge financial like unlock. Like the amount of money that everybody has to spend on a military, that would be a huge like influx of cash if they could find a way to get rid of that somehow. If they didn't need
Mhm.
to have all that stuff just around just to as like a deterrent. If they could just like I guess they can't do it through like agreements alone.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't get paid to think about
Yeah.
this kind of shit.
Yeah, it is nice. One thing that's nice though is like now that we've both been in the military, we have a sense for like how it is wrong. Like we do have an increased feeling of freedom. Like after we break our ties with the military, we get to feel like back to normal. Like as like an average person might never have known being sort of controlled in that way. But we have like an appreciation for like getting stuck somewhere and trying to be like kept there, and having we like fought to escape, and then now ostensibly we would do something do something more with our freedom than just like watch Netflix or something.
Yeah, like right now, like the priority for me would be to get better. Another way for me to get better is to get away from the way things are, and then just get out of Canada in general. I mean, I'm getting rid of my properties. I don't have faith. I mean, the prices are unrealistic. You're not going to be able to grow a good portfolio unless you came from money. So, I mean, I don't even know if I
Yeah.
trust the states, given how the deficit's 30 trillion plus. So, yeah, man, I'm not really sure where to put the money. That's why my free capital went into crypto, and thank fuck because I just gained like 30K.
Wow.
Yeah, Bitcoin blew up, and now Ethereum's starting to go up, and even Doge is up, and it's like,
That's weird. That was like, I guess that's just like a lag effect from the announcements we were talking about earlier.
Hype for the halving, but also combined with all of the people are tracking the amount of money that's being input from BlackRock and
Yeah.
Fidelity and all those places. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of money coming in, which is just going to stabilize the value of the coin. And I'm in, well, I'm not in a group. I'm using X to get crypto news, to get the cutting edge, like what's going on. And there's these guys
Right.
that are like dedicated crypto guys. Like they live and breathe it. And their profile pics are NFTs that they own that are probably worth millions of dollars each, and they're just like a fucking picture of an ape or a dog or whatever. And there's like different like communities, but they come together. It's like there's the Bored Ape, which I like. I like the Bored Ape group, and then there's like the dog ones. There's a whole bunch of different other ones. And I popped
Yeah.
into
As
this
far,
group.
yeah.
I popped into this group. One guy, his name is Books, and then there's another guy named Hash or Web, and that these are their
They all have
names, right?
cool hacker names.
Yeah, and man, they got some personalities on them, and they're very like strong. Like they're very they're they know what they're talking about, but then they also are humble
Yeah.
enough to be schooled. Seems like Hash is schooling everybody all the time, and they like listen to him and kind of, I don't know, they revere him, but they respect what he has to say. And I'm listening to these guys chat about crypto and where we're going and where we came from, and they expect it to continue to go up. It's nothing like that's happened in the past. This is all new with the ETF approval. And one guy was like happy that the ETFs are being approved, and now is like using that as a criteria whether or not he's going to get into a coin. And then one of the other guys got fucking vicious. He's like, it's not about the ETFs. Like that shouldn't matter. Fuck. And then the other guy like took a moment to explain what he meant. He's like, it stabilizes the value of the coin. Like it's not my only criteria. It's just something I consider now,
Mm.
which is a valid point. So they're all basically banking on the hype speculation phase, which is happening quite early. I mean, it's only February with the halving happening in April. Like there's a chance that the Bitcoin can go up to, I mean, there was an estimate for 100,000 by the time the halving happens. I mean, the fact that the hype is happening already, it's crazy. So
Yeah, I've seen like a lot of hype in the past. And so I'm a bit like, I think I'm a bit weathered in terms of like I've seen like a lot of hype and a lot of stuff sounding good, and then sort of like just a no correlation with price compared with hype. But it's always crypto has always gone up like over time, but like years at a time. Like it sort of just seems like this thing that it'll come back in waves. And you just want to make sure you don't get caught in the middle where like you have too much money in and it goes down for like 10 years and you can't wait, like 20 years for it to go back. So as long as you're just like putting money in that you can completely ignore, then I feel like it's probably true. It'll at some point in the future it'll be high again and you could sell without a loss. But I've heard stuff like big VP firms in Silicon Valley, they're putting like a lot of money into like people call them like garbage coins or trash coins or whatever, like projects that really don't have any backing, but like big VP firms will like invest heavily and then they'll generate hype, and they'll sort of have like no shame in terms of like pumping up the value and then getting in, getting out. And maybe that creates, I think, waves sometimes, like these artificial waves of money going way up and way down. So there's a lot of
yeah,
stuff to like be wary, but I think it's definitely true. Like the more technical, like factual knowledge that somebody has, the more able they are. Like let's say that its value raises for some reason, that it actually becomes like useful in some way, then it's good to know like more technical info about it so that you can tell if it is actually going to be useful, or if it's just more like sort of hype or people using it when they don't really need to use it just for the sake of it.
Well,
But one thing, if it
there's a couple other
oh,
things they were talking about. You want to finish your thought?
yeah, probably just the one thing that I feel it should be useful for, but it's a little bit too unstable and scary to use it is like transferring money between countries because like even going from like the States to Canada can take like a week to send money and it's kind of weird and the fees are a bit high. But using crypto, like you can send crypto anywhere, you can put it on your phone and it does cost some money to like do the transaction, but it's like this guarantee. It feels secure unless you make some kind of mistake where you send it to the wrong wallet or something. But then that guarantee holds true for the whole world. Like if you put your Bitcoin address, like if you put your wallet on your phone, then really you could go anywhere in the world. You can pay anyone who accepts Bitcoin with the phone, and they can just trust you outright because of the built-in like securities, unless like they get scammed in some other way, like there's a fake wallet or some vulnerability or something. But yeah, being crypto definitely seems like if it was a solid, reliable system, it would go a long way to allowing people to be like total world travelers, where they could access all their money and their investments anywhere without any need to like be in the country where they're using their bank or have some country controlling their money or watching their bank accounts for tax reasons or something. So that kind of feels like, but I don't know. I've never yet seen that system like formally coming together. It seems like maybe we'll get certain banks adopting it, and then we can trade between those banks easier, and I guess that would increase the number of transactions, increase the value, just kind of indirectly. Uh, but yeah, that's basically just my thoughts that I wanted to get out there.
What was the thing I was gonna say?
Yeah, you're talking about like different personalities, like talking about ETFs or whether the ETFs are not really the goal.
The issue is you're talking about like use cases, and they were too. And it's like Bitcoin is not the quickest to use. I think they were talking about Solana or another one that is like really quick with transactions. And so companies, if
Yeah.
they turn to crypto, they don't want to make things more complicated. They want to make things easier, right? So what's the point? And this is a good discussion. What's the point on any platform incorporating crypto if it's not simple? Why would they complicate things by adding another payment method? And it wasn't a bad question. I don't think there was really any answers. It's just the thing is that it has to be as easy as possible for it to be adopted. And there was one other thing that was super important too. Oh, shit, what was it? Oh yeah. So Bitcoin, this is actually completely separate. There's another idea. But Bitcoin doesn't need to change or adapt or whatever. It will have value. With its proof of work concept, um, being the first coin, reliable, unhackable for now. I don't know. There's quantum computing apparently that can be dangerous, but I don't know anything about it
That would
except
be
that.
yeah, that would be equally dangerous to like the current credit card system. If we could crack Bitcoin, we could crack all banks and everything. So yeah.
Yeah. So the other coins, all other coins, like they're tied to something. Even Ethereum is tied to its what CEO, who is apparently like this extravagant person. And they were talking about him briefly about how they dressed up in an animal costume or something. But like apparently it's like people are when they look at Ethereum, they're looking at the CEO. I mean, all these other coins are connected to something, and they're saying Solana is connected to four guys who are locked in a room with bunk beds and four workstations in the middle who are not even fed enough. And then because they basically said devs that are starving or devs that are hungry are going to produce more, basically showing like the fucking how Solana is like, it's yeah, anyway, it's so from what I'm getting is okay, another thing is basically Bitcoin is going to flip. It's already flipped a whole bunch of companies. It's growing and growing and growing. It's going to bypass Apple. It's catching up with gold. I think they said gold is like 13 or 30 trillion or something. But the thing is like basically Bitcoin is going to flip everything, every company out there, and eventually overtake gold because it's just easier and more secure than gold. And that's what they were humming and hawing about that. And if that's the case, man, I mean, Bitcoin is it. It's the future. But it's going to be more like I think more of a stable, like a hedge against inflation, but also a currency that can be used to pay for stuff. But again, like how fast are the transactions? Like I don't know. Like people
Yeah,
are
there
saying it's
was.
slow.
Yeah, there's been like ideas, like there was something called the Bitcoin Lightning Network for a while, and it was this idea that like credit card transactions are slow also if you try to like fully authenticate the card like on the spot. So a lot of companies like Walmart, they don't even send the transaction like to Visa when you check out. They just like do it quickly offline and they store the transaction and they just assume that like your card will probably work like later. Like and that's true for like most customers. And then occasionally like people will scam them and have like a non-working credit card that they don't check at checkout and the person just leaves with the stuff. But they just accept like businesses will just accept like a certain amount of loss because the convenience of fast credit card checkout is worth more than like occasional theft or whatever. And so I think that was the same as the Bitcoin Lightning Network is like, what if all day you just like do transactions with people at their Bitcoin wallets and then once at the end of the day you make like one big transaction to like settle all the stuff that happened that day, but every customer can just like flash their screen and then leave like in 1 second, but then like the money won't actually like maybe there'll be some temporary lock placed by like the app or something like that like on the money until it's like settled at the end of the day. And that would be one way to like, but that weakens the true power of crypto. Like it's no longer like secure and reliable. It's once again just like a big company with a lot of money taking risk to like pretend that it's faster. But that would be like if it got widely adopted, someone would offer that as like a service. Like maybe even Visa offers like crypto transactions, and Visa just like takes a hit if if like an address fails to pay the required money or something. But then you could sort of say like everybody has to have like a couple of wallets that are like registered to their name. And so if your wallet fails, like that would go affect your credit card score. And that would be like one way to police it. But then at the same time, that's also like you shouldn't, if you want true crypto, you can't really put like regulations like that on people. You want them to just have the freedom. So there's kind of like but then it could still function as gold. Like even if it's like slow, if it's super slow and expensive to make a transaction, you could still buy like a bunch of bars of like Bitcoin, instead of gold, and then just hold the money for like 10 years. And that it works for that basically.
Hmm. Speaking of gold, I was actually looking at buying some gold. Apparently, it's dropping.
How would you
And it
do it?
was
The physical
Bitcoin.
gold or like a just buying
Oh,
Bitcoin?
you can use Bitcoin to buy gold. Apparently, and silver from Silver Gold Bow.
But then what happens? Do they send you the gold or do you get like a certificate?
Yeah, that's an option. I think they can even offer to store it for you under like guaranteed security and insurance.
Yeah.
But yeah, they send
Can you
it to
visit
you.
it?
I was
Can you
looking.
visit
Yeah,
their facility?
probably. Yeah. I mean, I
Go
was
to, that would
looking
be
at.
cool. Like doing like the born identity thing where you like go to like a Swiss bank and you tell some guy like a number, then he like takes you to this deposit box and you open it and there's like some gold there and
Mhm.
like a like all the other born identity stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking about just getting a kilogram of gold just to have a block, just to fucking hold it and, rub it every day and then keep it as like a fucking
Yeah.
paperweight on my dining room table. If someone comes in here, they're not going to think it's real. Why would somebody keep their gold bar on the fucking countertop, right? Like, especially like in a place like this. Like, I was actually thinking about it, but I was like, no, no, I don't. I don't want to buy into it just yet. I am thinking silver though. I like silver.
Hmm.
I don't know why I like silver so much. I just do.
Like yeah, true, like pure silverware cutlery.
Yeah, I like
You
that
get
it
that?
tarnishes. I like that you have to take care of
Oh
it.
yeah, probably from Dark Souls.
What? What in Dark
Just
Souls?
the idea of like this precious metal being tarnished is like a
Oh,
tarnished is like the
tarnished.
word from Dark Souls.
Who is tarnished? Tarnished? Is that not
Yeah,
Elden
you
Ring?
always. Oh yeah, in Elden Ring, yeah, you start as like this tarnished person, and that's the whole idea is
Mm-hmm.
you're building your reputation.
Tarnished. Yeah. I like them.
I went
I
to
do
the
understand.
mint.
What? You went to the mint?
You can go to like the Canadian Mint, and they have a little gift shop, and they sell gold there.
Really?
Different. They sell coins and they sell like coin collections, like gold. They sell you a gold coin or like different pennant things, like kind of jewelry sometimes. One time I was there and there was like a special thing where there was just like a large bar of gold like attached to a chain, and there was like a guard there, and you could just like go up and you could like lift the gold bar, and it was like pretty heavy. And
It
then
was a
the
kilogram.
maybe a kilogram, yeah. It was like a larger one. I think it was just like not very pure. So maybe, but they said it was like a couple 100,000 or something.
Oh, well, that's more
So
than
that
a
was kind of
kilogram
cool to
then.
touch some real gold. If you win the Olympics, you get some gold.
Yeah, the metals are made of gold, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess. I wonder, are they still? Maybe they're like platinum or something.
They fucking better be. Yeah, I really like gold for some reason. Not really
Hmm.
good as armor. Like even so my Final Fantasy Legends game actually got that right.
Oh
Because it
yeah.
went from bronze that you can buy, like I think there was like leather and then bronze. And then the next strongest armor was gold. And then I think it moved on to like silver,
Huh.
battle, and eventually dragon. Dragon's
Huh.
OP. And then like battle suit. But like gold was the second strongest. No, sorry, second weakest. Which
Right.
makes sense. I mean, gold is not really a strong metal.
Yeah.
Pure gold is apparently very weak, so
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder how weak. Like, is it like pure gold, very weak? Could it be like very bendable? Like, could you put like your fingerprint in it or something?
no, I don't think
People
that
bite it. I
much.
guess they can. If they bite gold, I think it flexes a little bit.
Mm, that would make sense.
Yeah.
You see people biting coins or something like in movies. Maybe that's because they're
Yeah.
testing it.
And then they did like fillings out of gold, and maybe
Yeah,
that was because you can bite it a little bit.
yeah, all good stuff. I just wish I had more capital, man. So like when I sell
Mm.
this place, I'll get a couple 100,000, and then I mean I could be responsible and put it in my condo, but I'm not. I'm probably just gonna invest it in crypto, and then sell my other place and invest that in crypto.
Then you're
Seriously,
locked in though. I think some percentage, like percentage could be index fund
this
just
was a
to
you
have like
reminded me.
something that could become liquid. Yeah.
You reminded me. So, like Fidelity is recommending now that people for their like 401ks or whatever or RSPs that they put 1 to 10% into cryptocurrency now. That's
I bet you
crazy.
because Fidelity probably owns crypto at this point.
Yes,
So they're
exactly.
just looking out
But
for
now
themselves.
they're
But I
like
guess that's a trend. Yeah, they'll create the trend. Yeah. It's like
one
market manipulation.
percent to 10% of your portfolio should be crypto. That is huge.
Yeah.
And that was one of like when I heard that in the conversation, I was like, God damn. And they're like, this is great. People are putting money into their retirement, which then puts money into our pockets because they all have crypto, right? So it's because it makes the coin stronger the more people are putting money into it. But then there was like there's a bit of frustration about like the whole idea of crypto was to get away from the suits and they get away from centralization. And yet here where, the coins are getting stabilized by the suits, there's a bit of frustration with that. But one guy was like, it's going to stabilize the coin. We have to play the game with them until eventually we overtake them, because you have to play. The suits have all the power. So,
Yeah.
but
Some suits own a lot of crypto though. They already got
yeah.
like big whales. They already got in.
But like, eventually, when people lose faith in the fake dollar, as Robert puts it, fake money, they're gonna turn. They're gonna turn to crypto, or they're gonna use gold fucking tags or something. Like, you can buy from Silver Gold Bull, basically like a sheet of gold or a sheet of silver that's cut into perfect squares that you can break off and use as payment. I mean, eventually people aren't going to believe in money from the government. And then they're talking about if Joe Biden gets elected again. So, that actually, when is the US election? Are you tracking that stuff?
Yeah, I know. I think it's in November, and then they do the changeover in like next January, basically.
So, me buying real estate in the States before November might be a bit of a gamble.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, the one other thing about crypto too, and like, using gold as a currency is that you can't like print more gold. And so somebody had made the point that like if your country, like if the whole world uses like US dollars and the US is like in debt, and like let's say the US like wants to buy something, like the US has a forest fire all over the country and it wants to like pay for like all the repair damages, it's useful to be able to like print more money to pay, like they basically use inflation as like a way to like pay down their debts, whereas otherwise, if you were in a situation where like there's only so much gold in the US and you had like a whole city have like an earthquake, then there isn't a way to like get more money. You can't really put your thumb on the dial at all as the government, which is like good in some ways, but then I wonder, do we get in a situation where like we do kind of need more money to be circulating? Like sometimes they, like the government will give you more money as a return on your investment in order to like pull the economy out of like a recession, or vice versa. Like they lower the interest rate. They can control like how much money's going into the economy to force people to like spend or save more, and that allows them to like keep a handle on like how the overall economy is doing. But then it would be much less flexible, I guess, with like a hard system like gold or something. But I don't. But there are people that have the view that like it would still work out. There's like different ways, different tactics that could happen, but it's untested or something. I don't know, or nobody knows.
Hmm. All interesting stuff.
There's a weird thing where like people, like families in the Middle East have like a bunch of money. There's some like it was like the family of like some Middle Eastern bank. They like founded the first private bank in the Middle East or something, and that family has like a ton of money, and they just bought a controlling share in like those little playgrounds that you see in like malls for like kids, like little kid playgrounds in malls in America. They now own like 54% of that company. It's like just
Really?
like who knows what's going on. Like it's such a weird situation. Like I have no idea who wants what out of that.
Things to
It's
buy.
like this.
Why? On a separate topic, uh, music.
Oh yeah.
Good music, not the crap that plays on the radio most of the time.
Yeah.
Drake is garbage. I'm just gonna no. Too monotone. There's no fucking talent there. I'm talking about real music, real composers that make real music. Wow, I can't talk. Like the Final Fantasy composer.
Yeah.
Just absolutely legendary. This guy, I mean, I'm not having a good day today. I'm nauseous all day. Fucking now I have a gallbladder attack. Plus fighting off the vaccines, the fucking Japanese brain swelling fever, which yeah, I've had the vaccine. So I mean, if this is the really mild version of what this shit does, man, I feel bad for people that had to die from this because holy shit. And I gotta get 2 doses of this. Not feeling too hot. Um, and that being said, like feel like garbage and like what got me through the day was listening to this guy, Noboru Uematsu, the Final
Yeah.
Fantasy composer, like Tarzanarkin, I love Tifa's theme. That brings me a lot of peace. He's done a whole bunch. Like he even did Final Fantasy Legends 2, man. That's my Game Boy game I grew up with. He actually did some of the songs for that. I think most of them.
Yeah, it's quite a
Save the
long spanning
World.
career. Yeah.
Yeah, and he does like good stuff. Like some better than others. I really didn't like Final Fantasy X, a lot of its music. Like I really liked Xanarkin, but yeah, no, I wasn't a big fan of all of it. But like 7, absolutely legendary. 3 or 6, depending on which country, legendary. It's like the music that makes the game. I mean, but then there's also the plot and the story and the character development. It's just so good. I mean, Final Fantasy, I'm gonna call it 6, is a game I will always go back to and play, no matter what my age is. I
Mm.
daydream about that game. I daydream about the pixelated characters and their story. That's how good it is. And Kafka is the greatest villain ever made. Steps on Sephiroth like he's a little bitch. But everybody loves Sephiroth because he has his sexy long hair and his long sword. And he's like mysterious and super overpowered when you get to play him in the first Final Fantasy VII. But Kafka becomes a god. Actually, obtained everything he wanted and destroyed the world. I named my Elden Ring character Kafka, and then I raised him up to level 500 plus. I think he's almost at 600 now.
Uh,
And he has all the spells. And I try to like I dressed him up in like the green armor, like Kafka as like the original sprite. I try to make him look like that, even though he has more of a clown getup. And his god mode is pretty cool too, but there's no armor that's going to do anything if you just wear pants. So, or am I getting out with this? Okay, so yeah, listening to his music kind of like just chilled me out, and it kind of renewed my faith in humanity. Because like in that moment, I was like, oh my god, I'm surrounded by a bunch of mindless hamsters that are doing their 9 to 5, that are selfish to the ninth degree, who only think about
yeah.
themselves. And I like I'm this is how I see the world when I'm here. No one wants to look at
Yeah.
you. No one wants to talk to you. You know, the girls I date, they're just interested in what I can get them. Or I've dated because they're past tense now. If they even like respond, half the time they just ghost. And I sound like shit right now, and I'm like a negative, but I'm a really good dude, and I know that, and I treat them really well. But yeah, I'm met with
Mm.
narcissism, and like I was starting to lose. I don't know, like I don't really see people in a good light overall. I think there's a book I'm reading called Humankind, and the author Dr. Harari, who wrote *Sapiens*, you know, he taught me a lot of shit, and he endorses this book. And basically, its radical idea is that humans are inherently good, but we need to have some sort of trial or crisis for us to come together. And when things are
Mm.
too easy, this is now my takeaway from it. If there is no trial to unite us, then it's like everybody for themselves. And we're motivated
Yeah.
by greed and fear. Those are the two primary emotions. And that's what I see all around me. Because Canada has never been occupied. We send soldiers overseas, they get blown up and come back with PTSD, but the people here don't know hardship unless they're refugees or they immigrated from a country that was, being kind of occupied. Like I think of Iran when I'm saying this because
Yeah.
the Muslim culture the Muslims were coming in and basically trying to kill their history and take over. So, well, actually, they took over the government. So at least that's from the girl I dated. So, some of the people that are here in Canada, experience some hardship and they get it. But a lot of Canadians who haven't seen anything, they don't have that hardship to unite them. And I really see people as individuals that only care for themselves. And so Canada in itself is cold, dark, and this part of Ontario where I'm at is ugly as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a hard environment to be positive in with all those things.
And then the people are shit and cold in general. There's a couple good ones here and there. Is there a fifth one? Oh, the taxes. Holy shit. And you don't even get they were taxed like a bunch of socialists.
Mm.
We don't get the free education or the healthcare's garbage.
Oh, yeah.
So give me a reason to stay in Canada. Oh yeah, because it doesn't experience any real hardship because it doesn't get occupied because it's segregated. No one wants to fucking come here or take Canada over. I mean, unless they really want our fresh water and our resources, but it's a big piece of land to occupy. And the states are sniffing just south of us, so I don't think anybody from over the pond is going to come here and try to take us over. Not with a military force, anyway. Wait. What I'm saying is there's a silver, like there's a little bit of light, and that is if we had some hardship, I think that people will come together and help each other out overall. That book kind of gave me that thought, but outside of that, I see people as fending for themselves. And when I see the world in the dark
Mm.
place, it's hard to not go there myself. And then when I hear this music, I'm like, the fact that humanity has the potential to create something this beautiful, like the orchestra music is my favorite. Not always.
Yeah.
Not all orchestras are made the same. Some orchestra songs don't really flow together well. But what this guy does, most of them are amazing. Like the opera, mind blowing. When he
And the
did
composer is,
Susanna,
like, from Japan?
yeah,
This is a Japanese. Yeah, like, I
yeah,
just
yeah.
think, like, back to his, like, his life, his upbringing, like, Japan is, like, a very, like, work, like, salary man country, and so then to see this weirdly, like, beautiful music come out of, like, a total grind where, like, no one has, like, an individual identity is, that's shocking to see, like, that, you know, just like, randomly out of humans, you can get beautiful stuff, and, like, it does not reflect their environment perhaps, or maybe it does and they're just selecting like pieces of their environment and ignoring like others, or they have some kind of weird like holistic view that they can see the beauty in like the terrible like whatever hours they work over there too is like super high.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that he can do this, I mean, this is probably his full time job or was slash passion.
Yeah, and I guess there's an element of grind as well, like if you want to do that as a job you have to just churn out constantly good stuff, or else like someone will take your place, or uh like you have to keep on your toes to survive, especially like original ones with like maybe 8-bit music. and then you have to like learn the technical capabilities of like the new console and then like write music that works like within those limitations, and then do that like every generation, like reinvent your music style to fit.
Mm. Yeah, his style, like I there's a certain style to it, and I can hear it. Just like I have a style, people who hear me play piano like know it's me from any distance because of the way I play. I was like, really? I did not know that I had that. But people apparently know it's me walking because I walk a certain way too, like a stick's up my ass. I have no idea what they're talking about. If I feel someone's watching me, yeah, then a stick goes up my ass. But outside of that, I walk pretty normal.
Aren't you supposed to sit when you sit at a piano? You're supposed to be like really straight back.
Yeah, man, I kind of flow. So I kind of lean into it and I lean out depending on like when I
Oh yeah,
play, when I get into the zone.
right.
It's like a when I get into the flow, it's like a moment of brilliance. I go beyond my skill level, but then I don't know really what I'm doing. So then I'll forget if I don't like continue to practice what it is that I've done in order to turn it into like a muscle memory. But yeah, I'm always creating stuff in the zone or in the flow, and then I forget. I'm just like, fuck. But the fact that I have the potential to go into these zones, like it's really neat. I read
Yeah.
something today too. 321. It's from James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits. Three ideas from him, two quotes from others, and one question for you. Great. I think you should subscribe to it. But one
Yeah.
of them was about inspiration. It was a quote from someone else. And basically, two little paragraphs summed up quickly is don't wait for inspiration. Okay. You can hum and haw and, think about shit all day long, but nothing may come to you. It's all about the process. It's all about doing something. And while you're doing something, that's when something great can come from it. Did it no justice, I know. But this ties into something else. Practice makes better. I remember a
Mhm.
story or a real life example. I don't remember if it's real or just kind of a lesson, but students who are doing photography, half the class is it's divided in half.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one half is told, you take one picture and that's going to be worth your entire term mark. So it has to be like the perfect picture. And the other half is like the more pictures you take, the better mark you'll get.
Right.
And so basically the side that took all the pictures, right? Every picture they're taking, they're getting better and better. They're looking at positioning, they're looking at lighting. They're trying to improve upon the last picture. After 100 pictures, they're taking some really good shots. And then the other side, they're humming and haw and they're thinking about the perfect picture and they're waiting for the perfect opportunity or whatever else. What was found from this was that the ones that took the 100 pictures plus produced better pictures than than the half the class that tried to take the perfect picture the first time.
Yeah. I
And
wonder in that
basically,
example.
mhm,
Yeah, you could finish your thought.
it's through the process that we learn and we get better and our quality increases. But also at the same time, it's how create something. It's how we create something. It's like we can't just wait around for inspiration. We just need to go and do it. And sometimes I play piano and I feel inspired and I create something great. And then other times I play piano because I just want to play piano and it's fun. And then next thing you know, I'm in the flow, and then some emotions kick in, and then there's inspiration through that. And other times I just create something without any inspiration, and it's not too damn bad. It's pretty good. I play for hours.
Mhm.
I don't have to wait for inspiration to come in order to play and create something good. Is what I'm trying to say. What do you say?
Yeah, I was thinking of how like let's say like those students they submit like 100 photos, and I wonder would they be good at like telling like if you they have a set of like 100 plus photos, and if you ask them like say which photo you think is like your best photo, like I wonder like that's like a separate task in itself. Like the people that submitted one photo, they obviously like think that's their best photo, and they may have had to like do that process of like trying to figure out which is the best photo they took and submit like one of them. But the 100 people are like not really worrying about like submitting, picking the best one. They can just submit them all, and there's like they feel more casual, like they don't have to hum and haw about like this selecting that one that they submit. And I feel like that's it. It's interesting because like I've heard that said about like video games. Like some video games and some movies are like hit movies or hit video games, and they do really well. But even the company that like makes the game, they don't exactly know like what is good about the game, like what is making players like it the most. And so then usually like sequels, like sequel movies and sequel games, they're very like repetitive, and they often like don't change the core formula because they're like afraid that they might change the thing that's the good part of it, and they don't really know. And that's kind of like if you think like like millions of games are produced by society and only some of them become like popular. It's kind of like that thing of like like nobody can sit down and make a good video game, but if you allow humanity to make like tons of video games, good ones will like arise. But then we can't necessarily like that's the whole thing of being like a film critic or whatever, is like playing all the games or watching all the films and then trying to say like what does a good film contain. And it's kind of like hard
The
to do, like
the
you can't
hero's journey.
necessarily.
A good
Yeah,
film
how did
contains the hero. We love the hero's
oh
journey.
right. Yeah, that's a true thing. Yeah, maybe I think film critics are very sensitive to that now. Like if it's too clearly the hero's journey, it bothers them because they watch it all the time, and so you have to like throw you got to throw them some kind of twist.
Yeah, Black Mirror is interesting because it doesn't always end on a good note. Actually, it normally doesn't end on a
Oh
good
yeah,
note. Usually ends pretty horribly.
that's true.
That's
Yeah,
what's
the
interesting about Black
anti
Mirror. Hmm.
yeah the anti-hero journey.
I like it a lot. Actually, I have a couple to watch still.
It would be cool if there was a positive Black Mirror though, like a I don't know white mirror, regular mirror, reflective
Yeah.
mirror, typical bathroom mirror.
It's when you were saying that though, it's like it's a Donkey Kong comes to mind. I'm playing that right now, with my buddy Rick, with my buddy Ben, and we played the first one, and the first one's okay, but the second one is like
Mm,
the best game in my mind for like those kind of side scrollers. Just
yeah.
amazing. The music is great. It's fun. I daydream about that game all the time. Love it. Absolutely love it. The other levels, the higher levels get a little hard and a little bit ridiculous, but really good music. And the third one, I don't know, it just
Mm,
it's either the music or yeah, I think it's the music in that game. It just feels lonely.
huh.
It doesn't feel as good. The music isn't as good. And there's a
Yeah.
few levels that are flashing through my head as I'm saying that, and it's not bad music, but it's not Donkey Kong Country 2
Right.
music.
Yeah.
I don't know, the third one kinda just paled in comparison to the second one. But
Yeah.
they
So
tried
it's
to,
like the
like
first. Yeah. There's like a practice game, the good one, and then the one where they just didn't innovate enough or something.
they tried to do, like, an open world thing where you
Oh
can
right. Yeah.
scroll around and stuff, but I mean, not a bad idea, but Donkey Kong's very much like level to level. You go back and forth, you can save, you can take a jet to go to the other worlds, but, this whole I don't know the way
Mm.
the third one tried to develop. It might have been the music and maybe the ally animals, just not as good. Not as good. And
Yeah. Well,
Bomberman
thanks for.
2. Huh?
Well, I gotta head out soon, but yeah,
All right.
you can bring up.
Yeah, I appreciate the chat, man. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of some Super Nintendo games. That's all.
Yeah, we can bring. That's a good thing to bring up next time.
All right. I'll catch you later.
All right, with Bomberman. All right, yeah, I'll see you.
Bye bye.
Bye.